The third element of art that I'd like to cover in this video is the element of form. It follows nicely behind line and shape for this reason. We've already defined a line as being a moving mark and being one-dimensional. We've said that if that line comes back to meet itself, that it'll enclose a space, and we've called that a shape. The next logical progression then would be from this two-dimensional shape, if we can express a third dimension of depth, then we have a form. So lines are one-dimensional, shapes are two-dimensional, and forms are three-dimensional or appear to be three-dimensional. Another example might be of a circle, for instance. A circle itself is two-dimensional. It's flat. It's a shape. It might be kind of like this small weight. It's got very little thickness. It's just primarily a shape. But if we take that circle and expand it into space, we begin to express form. So for instance, if I have a spray can which has a circular base, but I take that circle and expand it into space, I get a form. Or if I take that same circle and expand it outwards into space, I could create a sphere. You can tell this is spherical even though it has a circular outline because it's got highlights and shadows that help express that form. So forms are three-dimensional. They have length, width, and depth. They have three dimensions, like an expanded shape. They could be geometric forms or they could be more natural organic forms. So taking a look at some examples, here's a portrait by Pablo Picasso, and I would describe this as being very shapely. You can see that he's used lines to outline his face and his facial features, and pretty much just created shapes and then filled those shapes in with areas of fairly solid color. So the overall look of the portrait is very flat. It doesn't look all that three-dimensional. There are some things in there that make it look a little three-dimensional, but by and large this is a very flat-looking portrait. A stronger expression of the human likeness might be this portrait by Vermeer. Here you can see the face appears to be much more three-dimensional, much more rounded, and the artist achieves that by using varying values and colors to express a sense of depth. So a form is three-dimensional, and it can either be literally three dimensions like a sculpture or an object in space, or a form could be used to describe a two-dimensional work that looks lifelike, that looks like it exists in three-dimensional space. So that's our third element of art, the element of form.